is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, we're going to dive into the details about the Leonard Williams extension with the New York Giants. In addition to that, I'll touch on John Ross, another small signing that the New York Giants brought in. Of course, we also added a fullback as well. Didn't get a chance to really dive into him so much. He's a minor signing. He's probably going to take the role of a guy like Eli Penny or possibly Nate Ebner in special teams. And it'll kind of be a lateral move in terms of salary cap. But I want to talk about the big news of the day, that being Leonard Williams. And of course, Leonard Williams and the New York Giants have not really been able to work out, a contract for 2 years. Last year, he had to play on the franchise tag with the Giants, being that he wanted more than the Giants were willing to offer. Played out on a $16.3 million tag. Then the Giants, in fear that he may be able to sign with another team before free agency started, tagged him a second time for $19.3 million before ultimately becoming, being able to work out an agreement today, which works out to be a 3-year deal for $63 million, $21 million a year on average, and $45 million guaranteed. Now, as far as the workings of the contract, outside of what it will cost against the cap this year, that I'm not aware of. I don't think that's become public knowledge. When it does come out, I'm sure I will have a separate video out on that. This year, it will only count towards $11 million against the cap. And of course, the cap is due to accelerate. At least that's the projections. We don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic and everything else, but more than likely will accelerate next year, much higher than it is this year. And he was due to be at 19.3 against the cap due to the franchise tag. And you can't fluctuate that money. So on this year's cap, it will save the New York Giants $8.3 million. And we'll see how the New York Giants divvy up that money in terms of guarantees and how it will affect the cap in the coming years. But if you watch any of my live streams, if you watch several of my videos, I've been on record of saying several times, and it's why I reacted the way I did in my live stream today when I saw the contract. In a dream world, the New York Giants would be able to bring back Leonard Williams on a 3-year deal. Now, the only way, much like James Bradberry last year, that you're going to be able to bring a player back on a 3-year deal is if you overpay on a per-year average. And I am always, especially when I'm in a rebuild, in favor of giving a guy a couple of extra $1 million. Said it with license plate guy, said it with Bad Dog. I've said it in videos. I would much rather pay an extra $2-3 million per year to keep the contract as short as possible. That's exactly what the New York Giants did last year with James Bradberry. I remember this same time last year, people were flipping out. They said we overpaid James Bradberry. Well, we didn't. We kept the contract short. We kept it to 3 years. It gave us flexibility. If things went sour, if he gets hurt this year, if he regresses significantly in play, you always want to leave yourself that assurance that you can get out as quickly as possible. Well, again, haven't been able to see the structure of the contract, but I would assume the New York Giants would be able to find a way, if need be, to clear cap space if he regresses significantly to be able to get out of this contract after just 2 years. So me personally, I would much sooner pay him $21 million a year on average than $18 on a 5-year deal. That's just me. I would want a shorter commitment in the game of football. That is a smart move by the New York Giants. They did the same thing with Blake Martinez last year. It was a 3-year deal. And we'll see how Williams performs over the contract and whether or not he gets another contract with the New York Giants. But now this is behind us. We don't have to worry about him potentially holding out next year and having to tag him again or working out an extension, and he will no longer be able to hold us under a barrel. And the fact that it's only 3 years, I think is as good of a deal as you could have hoped for as a New York Giant fan. He was due $19.3 million on the franchise tag. And the reason, as it prolonged, once he got that tag, that I didn't think he'd be willing to do a 3-year deal is because it's basically only a 2-year commitment. Because you could probably get out after 2. Why wouldn't you just play out on the franchise tag and then hit the open market again? But he does get $45 million guaranteed. So he gets some security. He gets a lot more guaranteed money. And congratulations to Leonard Williams, my man. We need you on this team. We knew that. And you're back. You fit the scheme very well. And you produced. And when players produce, they earn their money. The guy had 11.5 sacks last year for the Giants. He was triple anybody else in that department. I think he was triple anybody else in hits. He was double in pressures. The guy was far and away our best pass rusher on this team. Some people felt like Dalvin Tomlinson may have had a lot to do with that. Well, now, obviously, the Giants will have to fill that vacancy with guys like Austin Johnson and with guys like B.J. Hill. But obviously, Gettleman and Judge came to the conclusion that much like myself, I thought that they were going to keep Williams and let Tomlinson go because Tomlinson is more replaceable, that it was in the team's best interest to move forward with Leonard Williams. And I'm glad that they kept this contract short. It gives yourself a lot more flexibility in a few years to start to extend other players, possibly give Daniel Jones that extension at that point. Who knows? Dexter Lawrence, whatever it may be. But it was important to get this deal done to give ourselves more cap flexibility in free agency. Now, not all the figures have come out with the Nate Solder restructure. We don't know how much we're going to save there. We know we're saving 8 here. Maybe we save 6 or 7 with Nate. That's going to give you an additional $15 million this year in free agency. And then you have other possibilities of small cuts you may make, some extensions, and you will structure the contracts of players you bring in to fit this year's salary cap. So far, the Giants have done minor things, 1-year deals, which is going to kind of turn me to John Ross. John Ross, I want to start this off by saying, by signing John Ross, rest assured, this does not mean that the New York Giants are done building up that wide receiving core. He is not a number 1 wide receiver. The New York Giants are not fooled by that. He's a former first-round pick with upside that provides a lot of depth and also could definitely help in special teams. He's been a kick returner before, and he has speed. We all know that. That's why John Ross went as early as he did in the draft that he did. I think he was a former top 10 pick, but here's the tweet from Mike Garofalo. The Giants have agreed to terms with wide receiver John Ross on a 1-year, $2.5 million deal that includes $1 million in guaranteed money, sources say. The 9th overall pick in the 2017 draft ran a 4.22 40 time to get the chance to reset his career in East Rutherford. And by no means do I think John Ross is going to be a number 1 wide receiver. Could he find a role with the New York Giants? Sure, why not? Why can't he be a guy that's a threat to take the top off a defense? Something that we don't really have on this defense, on this offense as of now. And if you look at his numbers, yeah, he hasn't been super productive. Guy had 7 touchdowns, though, in 2018 on only 21 catches for 210 yards. He averaged over 18 yards a catch in 2019, and then kind of fell out of favor with the Bengals last year. I remember he requested a trade because of all the young wide receivers that they had on the team, and they obviously were looking to move on without him. And that's exactly what they will do. And now the New York Giants pick him up for only $2.5 million, with only $1 million of it being guaranteed. And like I said, that doesn't mean that we are out of the running for guys like Curtis Samuel, for guys like Kenny Golladay. What it does mean is he will more than likely be a part of the rotation in the receiving corps. He will probably be a 3rd or 4th wide receiver with this team and a guy that could definitely contribute in special teams and be a deep threat for Daniel Jones and this offense, the Coryell scheme, which is going to look to stretch defenses more this year. I think it was a good move. It's a smart move. You're not signing him for much. It's only a 1-year commitment. New York Giants are doing much of what they did last year in terms of short-term commitments, guys that they're bringing in to fill holes. Now, they're going to have more money now. And you also have to remember with the other guys they're going to be bringing in, they're going to structure them in a way to fit this year's cap. So could they still go out there and add a cornerback? Absolutely. Could they still go out there and try to add a guy like Kyle Van Noy or Hassan Reddick? Absolutely. Right now, if you ask me, I think the New York Giants are going to focus on filling in all the holes they need on the offensive line, potentially, if the right deals are there, and on the defensive side of the football, whether it be edge rusher, whether it be cornerback. And then they're going to focus strongly on the weapons in the draft. That's what I think the plan was from the beginning. That's what I still think the plan is. But could they get Kenny Golladay if the price is right? Sure, why not? It looks right now like it's probably down to the Giants and the Dolphins. Maybe there's a sleeper team out there like Washington. We'll have to wait and see. But so far, so good today. I like the Leonard Williams extension. It's a short deal. Gives yourself the freedom to get out. As I said, I'd always overpay on a per-year basis to keep the contract short. I said the same thing last year when they signed James Bradbury. Always keep it short if you can. That's ideal. Love what the New York Giants did today with the Leonard Williams extension. And we'll see what we got going forward. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.